Chicago kingpin Al Capone has been running illegal alcohol rackets throughout the city. Elliot Ness, an agent of the Bureau of Prohibition, is sent in to take down his operation. Unfortunately, most of the police are on Capone's payroll. Just as Ness is about to call it quits, he befriends an Irish beat cop, Jim Malone. Malone refuses at first, but changes his mind. Malone wants to make sure Ness is willing to go all the way in taking down Capone.
You said you wanted to know how to get Capone. Do you really want to get him? You see what I'm saying? What are you prepared to do?
Everything within the law.
And then what are you prepared to do? If you open the ball on these people, Mr. Nash, you must be able to go all the way. Because they won't get up to fight until one of you is dead.
I want to get Capone. I don't know how to get him.
Want to get Capone? Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way. And that's how you get Capone. Now, do you want to do that? Are you ready to do that? I'm making you a deal. Do you want this deal?
I have sworn to put this man away with any and all legal means at my disposal, and I will do so.
Well, the Lord hates a coward. Do you know what a blood oath is, Mr. Ness?
Yes.
Good, because you just took one.
Ness and Malone take on two additional agents, Petrie and Wallace. In quick fashion, they find Capone's hidden caches of alcohol disrupting business. This puts Ness and his team in Capone's crosshairs, especially with Capone's right-hand man, Needy.
Hey, nice house! I said, nice house! You live there? Little girl's having a birthday, huh?
Yes.
Nice to have a family.
Yes, yes.
Man should take care. See that nothing happens to him.
The Untouchables is a wonderful, pulpy crime film. You have the cops and robbers that recall the gangster classics of yesteryear. It has a Western feel to it as well, with Chicago not being big enough for both Capone and Ness. That dichotomy giving us their motivations. Ness's duty to follow the law, and Capone's avarice from bringing alcohol to the public. Director Brian De Palma made a reputation for himself as a director of stylish, violent pictures. Phantom of the Paradise, Carrie, The Fury, Dress to Kill, and Scarface. Pretty intense stuff. With The Untouchables, De Palma limited the style in favor of the character work with a stellar ensemble cast. The script was written by David Mamet. Mamet has a knack for writing plays and screenplays that have a rhythm. He was doing the kind of dialogue Tarantino does in his films before Tarantino was a thing. American Buffalo, Glengarry Glen Ross, the 1981 film For the Postman Always Rings Twice, and Wag the Dog. A lot of good stuff. Sean Connery compared reciting Mamet dialogue to quoting the Bible. Just listen to the opening lines with Robert De Niro as Al Capone.
An article which I believe appeared in a newspaper asked why, since you are, or it would seem that you are in effect the mayor of Chicago, you've not simply been appointed to that position. Well, I'll tell you, it's touching. Like a lot of things in life, we laugh because it's funny and we laugh because it's true. Some people say, reformers here say, put that man in jail. What does he think he is doing? Well, what I hope I'm doing, and here's where your English paper's got a point, is I'm responding to the will of the people. People are going to drink. You know that, I know that, we all know that, and all I do is act on that. And all this talk of bootlegging, what is bootlegging? On the boat, it's bootlegging. On Lakeshore Drive, it's hospitality. I'm a businessman.
And what of your reputation that you control your business through violence? That those that don't purchase your products are dealt with violently?
Is that right? I grew up in a tough neighborhood. And we used to say you can get further with a kind word and a gun than you can with just a kind word. And in that neighborhood, it might have been true. And sometimes the reputation follows you. There is violence in Chicago, of course, but not by me and not by anybody I employ, and I'll tell you why, because it's not good business.
Ennio Morricone. What more can be said of one of the great film composers of all time? The Leone films, the select works of Dario Argento, select films of Sergio Corbucci, Quentin Tarantino, Fulci's Lizard in a Woman's Skin, the French originals for The Birdcage, the underrated heist film Grand Slam, A Sky Full of Stars for a Roof, Salo, 120 Days of Solemn, Autopsy, What Have You Done to Solange? The man is an icon. With The Untouchables, he plays up the pseudo-Western motif of the film in some parts. The harmonica of the opening theme recalls Morricone's work on Once Upon a Time in the West. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the Untouchables themes, followed by The Man with the Harmonica. Before we get into Drago, let's talk about this amazing cast. Kevin Costner, Andy Garcia, both put in fine performances as part of the ensemble. Sean Connery as Jim Malone and Robert De Niro as Al Capone almost steal the movie, chewing up the scenery and espousing Mamet's dialogue with... Yet, Billy Drago as Needy adds something as an antagonist to Ness that Capone doesn't. A sinister menace. Capone is all about the bravado, being a public tough guy. Needy is the one willing to do what Capone denies. The opening scene in the bar has Needy leaving the explosive briefcase that kills a child. In the aforementioned clip where Ness first meets Needy, it's right outside Ness's home where his wife and daughter are vulnerable. What helps Drago further stand out is that he's not overexposed. Drago as Needy is very much like Patrick Stewart in Green Room. They use just enough of him to maintain that sense of dread when he comes on screen, but not too little that you easily forget about him. The Untouchables is an enjoyable gangster western homage. The cast does fantastic work with the material by Mamet, and De Palma brings all the elements together into a satisfying cinematic experience.